Good afternoon. Welcome back, everyone, to our Bible class. To begin our Bible class, however, we will have a hymn, which is hymn 272, Give Me the Bible. That is hymn 272, Give Me the Bible. Give me the Bible,
star of gladness gleaming, to share the wonder alone and tempest tossed. No storm can hide that peaceful gladness beaming, since Jesus came to seek and save the lost. Give me the Bible, holy message shining, thy light shall guide me in the narrow way. Precepts and promise, law and love combining, till I shall vanish in eternal day. Give me the Bible when my heart is broken, when sin and grief had filled my soul with fear. Give me the precious word by Jesus spoken, hold up its lamps to show my Savior near. Give me the Bible, holy message shining, thy light shall guide me in the narrow way. Precepts and promise, law and love combining, till I shall vanish in eternal day. Give me the Bible, all my steps enlighten, teach me the danger of these realms below. That lamp of safety or the gloom shall brighten, that light alone the path of peace can show. Give me the Bible, holy message shining, thy light shall guide me in the narrow way. Precepts and promise, law and love combining, till I shall vanish in eternal day.
Thank you.
Happy Sabbath, everyone, and welcome back to Bible class. The topic for today's discussion is music and the Christian. So we're going to look at music from a Christian's point of view, what we are supposed to be listening to, what we should look out for as Christians in media today. But before we get into our study, we'll have a special by Sonia.
Happy Sabbath, everyone. The song that I will be singing for you is Peace in the Midst of the Storm. When the world that I've been living in collapses at my feet, when my life is tattered and torn, though I'm windswept and battered, I cling to his cross, and I'll find peace in the midst of my storm. There is peace in the midst of my storm. There's an anchor, there's a rock to build my faith upon. So when Jesus rides in my vessel, I will fear in the midst of my storm. When the 24 short hours were living brought to moments when my life's final picture is taking form. In the darkest room of my sufferings, there's a light shining through. Oh, there is peace. He gives me peace in the midst of my storm.
Peace in the midst of our storm. Thank you, Sister Gabriel. I know I said Sonia earlier. My apologies. That's our dear Sister Gabriel. Continue to pray and encourage her. As we're about to begin Bible class, let us bow our heads for prayer. Dear kind and compassionate Father, thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed upon us thus far. We are gathered here today, physically and virtually, to study your word, to find out the truths that come from you. Father, remove all biases from our hearts, from our minds. May we approach the word with one understanding, and that understanding should only come from you. Open our hearts, dear Father. May it be receptive to your message. Kill self. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Welcome back again, everyone, to Bible class. As we said, we're going to do music and the Christian. We don't have a lot of time today. We're on a strict time restriction, but nevertheless, we will open up and study together. As you can see, I'm not alone. For the past 3 weeks, you've seen me by myself doing the presentation, well, not the presentation, studying, leading the study. But today I have my lovely sister Hunt with me, and she will be assisting in today's Bible study.
Happy Sabbath, everyone.
But, all right, so today the topic of music is what persons call a controversial topic in the sense that they say it's too broad and you can't put a microscope on it and dissect it. But I beg to differ. I believe wrong is wrong and right is right. And the Bible shows us the standard that we're supposed to hold everything to. So, but before we start, I have a little riddle, well, not a riddle, but something to open up our minds before we...
Icebreaker.
Yes, like an icebreaker. Thank you, Sister Hunt. So I'm going to tell you 4 things, and I want you to tell me the order in which they come. So we have marriage, music, the Sabbath, angel. In what order did they come? Just give you a second to think about it and just attempt it.
Can I answer?
Yeah. Yes, you can. You can attempt it.
Let's leave it.
You know the answer?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, okay. No, let's give somebody else a try. Marriage, the Sabbath, music, and angels. All right, no, I'll just repeat for Daniel since it's so far away. All right, so Daniel says the angels brought music, so it's angels, music, the Sabbath, and then marriage. All right, good attempt. We're going to open up some scriptures and see if that's the order. Anybody else want to try? Just want to answer now. All right, it's answer time. Oh, Sister Walker has an attempt? Oh.
Music, angel, Sabbath, marriage.
Music, angel, Sabbath, marriage. And Daniel was? Angel, music. All right, you're closer than Daniel. Daniel way off. Daniel wrong. Well, I wouldn't say I'm wrong, but based on the logic that we're going to use. So, the first reference of music in the Bible is in Genesis chapter 4, verse 21. And it was found in the lineage of Cain. It's talking about Jubal. So that lineage is the lineage of rebellion. But we also see where music was given as a gift to Lucifer. So Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 13, well-known passage, where it says, "Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, thy sardius, topaz, and the diamond, and the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, and the sapphire, and the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold." But this is the part I should note. "The workmanship of thy tambrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day thou was created." So we see that music was a gift. In the Old Testament, we see where it says in Exodus chapter 15, "Salvation, he is my God, and I will prepare him an habitation. My father's God, and I will exalt him." Also in Isaiah also said that God is my salvation, Jehovah is my strength and my song, summarizing Isaiah chapter 12, verse 2. So both verses tell us that the Lord is our salvation, strength, and song. With that in mind, it was music, then angels. Right? Music is with God, because remember it says in Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 17, "The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save, he will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing." So music comes from God. So music came before angels, and God gave it to the angels as a gift. So music, then angels, and then the last part shouldn't be so hard. Marriage came before the Sabbath, because Adam and Eve were created before the seventh day. So we see the order. So we're just going to do a brief summary of music, history of music, and Sister Hunt will be doing that segment. So I'll hand over to you, Sister Hunt. Come closer to me.
ourselves. It's not a case where we can exist by ourselves. So after a period of time, they all came together and created a religion, and it is a religion for them called Voodoo, what we more so know as voodoo. So a part of this, a major part of their religion was the serpent. And we all know from Bible scriptures and verses that the serpent is a representation or something used to represent the devil. And they used the drums, and they didn't speak, but they allowed the music or the rhythm or the drums to guide them, and it was sought after as something as how they would converse with their different gods. And it was explained from our research that we did. It was like the god entered them, and it was like their God was riding their spirits. That was how, what we would call, to make it easier, it was like sign language to their God. And so it was during the French Revolution, and they saw what was happening in France, and they decided that how can they have so much, how can the main country have so much, and we here suffering? Let's revolt also. And they staged a revolution, and they broke free, and they were brought to the United States. And, it was called what we know now from history as the French-Haiti Revolution. And so Santo Domingo becomes Haiti, and, the creation, so we spoke about the creation of voodoo by the slaves when they come together. And I'm not sure if everyone knows that, but the state in the United States called New Orleans, that was the main, the port, entry point, where slaves were brought through and then distributed, if I may say so, to the other slave countries, right? Pardon me, I'm a little bit nervous. But yes, so, and, it's not everybody that goes to New Orleans is sent to different countries. Some of them break free. I remember they are coming from this country with their beliefs, and so they bring it with them wherever they go. And it was a case where when they broke free, you would see different gatherings within that state of people just jumping and dancing and moving about, and the U.S. people are seeing this, and they are now intrigued by it, and they want to know more. And so that's where we see the ragtime sort of music come about, and then ragtime is developed into R&B, and then R&B to jazz, and then jazz into rock and roll, and it moves to hip-hop and rap, and it moves to dub and Jamaican music. Because remember, it wasn't a case where we heard it fluently over the radios. I'm sure we know that. I'm maybe not sure, but in Jamaica, when we were hearing the music, it wasn't flowing smoothly, but it was coming in and out, and that's how we get our form of, maybe not we, but that was how the culture gained their form of how they keep DJ, where they come in and they play the music, stop, and then they do some talking, and then go on again. So that's how it got there, and then it moves from rock and roll again to the Jesus hippie movement, what we know as Christian contemporary music, to Christian reggae, rap, and to Christian R&B. So that's where we're at now.
Sorry, I have to be. So thank you for that summary, Torian. And we see that music had a root. Certain music that we listen to now, we see that it's all tied back to this voodoo and this thing where they would just beat the drums and they dance all frantic and spirits into them. Okay, so I was told to proceed. Okay, so let's continue. So we know that music can be good and music can be bad. Bible speaks about music a lot. There are roughly 246 verses that refer to music. And we also read earlier that music is a gift from God. God sings. But there is a line to which you can do something and it's still within the confines of, well, in the definition of what? David. And how did David do it? With the harp. So we see that music can have a positive influence. And just like how it can have a positive influence, it can also have a negative influence. So music in of itself as a noun is just the vocal or instrumental sound combined in such a way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotions. That's looking at music as a noun. But in the research, we saw that music was also a verb. The root word of music, muse, refers to a god or a goddess. And it also means to control thoughts. So to make someone think, to control the way people think. That is what the word music means as a verb. The largest book in the Bible is a book of songs. It's Psalms, a book of hymns. What would you say is the control center of the body? The mind, right, Sister Walker? The brain, the mind, the frontal lobe, some persons would say. Many experiments have shown that music can impact brain function and it can also impact and influence the body. There is power in song. Sister White said in her estate published her statements or views on music, and this is an excerpt pulled from the statement. Rightly employed, it's a precious gift of God, designed to uplift the thoughts to high and noble themes, to inspire and elevate the soul. It is one of the most effective means of impressing the heart with spiritual truth. It is one of the most effective means of impressing the heart with spiritual truth. So it reinforces spiritual truth is what Ellen G. White is saying, that there is power in music. So music and the Christian's choice. So music is a gift from God, but as we say, it can be corrupted by the culture and secularism. You get what I'm going at. What happens when you take a drop of dye and you have pure water like this, right? And you take a drop of dye and you put it in it. And we did that experiment a couple months ago. And you shake it up, what would happen? It would spread throughout the water. Even though it's one drop, it wouldn't murky the water that you can't see through it. But then it would be translucent. So it's not 100% pure anymore, right? It's like that with music. Music is like pure water. Good music, positive music, music as a gift that comes from God. But also it's easily mixed with other things. And that is what we should note. How we mix music with culture. And then we present it before the Lord as pure water when we have corrupted it. Note the words in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brothers, what is true, what is honorable, what is just, what is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. So as a Christian, you should say, okay, if the lyrics of this song that I'm listening to, does it match what is said in Philippians? Is it true? Is it honorable? Is it just? Is it pure? Is it lovely? And you hold it to that standard. So everybody can say, yes, Louis, we understand that. We've been hearing that from a long time. That's all is well. We don't listen to the songs that are explicitly about that and go against what is taught in Philippians chapter 4. So let's ask the question, what about songs that are neutral? Because I had that question. What about songs that are neutral? in the sense that they're neither good or bad from a human point of view. They have no curse words. They don't reference any form of lust or pride of life or anything of that nature. It's just a beat and some unambiguous words in a logical order. It don't mean anything. It has no real meaning, is what some Christians would say. What about those type of songs? And before I answer, I just want to, what do you think about neutral songs? Is there such a thing as neutrality? No, I got a resounding no. So I listened. Oh, we have a point? Music that deals with the culture, is that good music? All right, so we said mixing music and culture. Well, Christian music is what I was referring to. Same thing you're referencing to, right? Christian music with culture. There is a line that should not be crossed. You see, when you alter music in the form that you are like the world, you're like the culture, the main culture of society, in the sense that we're trying to gather my thoughts. Yeah, you can't differentiate in what the world is doing and what you as a Christian should be doing. You know that something is wrong there. So I would just put forward with reasonable assurance, mixing culture and Christian music together can, and in my research, I would say, yes, it's not something you should do. It's something you should try and stay away from. And as we go through some examples later, you'll see. So I'll just hold on to the question. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you're going to see what I'm talking about, mixing them. So as we learn this morning, Brother Burton pointed out in Sabbath school, there's no middle ground. There's no neutrality. So I remember I listened to coding songs. So I build websites and stuff. So I listen coding, I do coding and I listen to music in the background. But I remember the Lord said to me, Louis, what you listen to? I said, it's just white noise, meaning I'm not really picking up what the person's saying, or it's just noise, and off the surface, the person wasn't saying anything bad. But this morning I woke up at 3 o'clock and I said, you know what, I can research a song. Because the other day, I took it out of my playlist completely because I stopped listening to it after a while. Because I was saying, all right, there is no neutrality. So I can't say because it's not bad. But I never really understood. I just know that there is no neutrality, so I should stay away. But it was always still there in the folder. So other day I removed it. I just said, you know what, I'm going to remove it. I'm not going to make it stay. But this morning I researched it and just listen to the lyrics of the song and tell me if you can see anything wrong just from the offset. I'll see you at the movies. I'll see you with your lipstick on. I'm looking out for cosmos. I'm hoping that we'll get along. It's time for renovation. It's time for us to make a change. It's time for a Chinese New Year. It's time for me to make a way. Off the bat, it doesn't sound like it should be raising a red flag to you. But when I was looking at it this morning, I was looking at it, she said, I'll see you with your lipstick on. I'll see you at the movies. I was like, And then the thing about it, it's a band. So it's a band of 2 persons, and the person who is singing is a female. So when she said, I see you with your lipstick on, she's referring to another female. I was like, you see where the song going? But then I said, you know what? I'm not going to make a jump and assume something. So I'm going to look up what the writer is about and what they were trying to convey in the song. So I found some where other persons break down the song, and there were 2 interpretations. One person said, oh, you just need to change. That's what the song is talking about. When somebody else noted that she was talking about the lipstick, and in other verses she referenced baby, even though she wasn't putting forward anything, when you put it all together, it was a female-to-female thing she was pushing. So we have to look and read between the lines and do our due diligence, as we're going to look at later. There's another one called Far Caspian, and this one was more alarming to me. So I'm not going to quote all the song, but just the notable parts. It's hard to know which way to go. Come and find me. Come and find me. The city sleeps with autumn leaves on the side of the street, uninviting. I spend my days in a summer haze by the pine trees all the time. We knew not what's right, so intertwined, I remember. I was looking at it, I was like, the person is reminiscing about something, but the line that says, knew not what's right. They're clearly not reminiscing on something good. So it opened up to me to say, this is why you shouldn't be listening to the song, because they're trying to convey something in their message, in their music. They're ministering to your soul. Because if you should break down the word entertainment, for example, to enter, right? Tainment, to teach. Well, tain, to teach, rather, and meant to keep in that state. So when you're being entertained, you're being taught something. So you should make sure that whatever you're being taught is according to the word of God. So there's always a meaning. Not because you don't understand. We have a question. Not because you don't understand it, it doesn't mean it has no meaning. Yes, Sister Sonia.
Okay. So I have a question based on what you were saying. You made a statement that music is not neutral, and while he was talking, I was here thinking, and maybe it's me, so I'm just going to throw it out there. There are some persons, artists, they write songs based off their life experience. And sometimes these life experience can be like hardship and what it feels like to go through hardships and like some effects that it has when you transition from a lower class life to a maybe middle or higher class life. That's just basically what the song is saying. So being that it is not taught, at times they would mention that, like they would say like, God has my back. No, God will always have my back and stuff like that. So would you call, well, it's not a gospel song. So the question I should ask, what would you say is a neutral song? That is important. We have to define what it is. Is it that it's something that doesn't speak about God at all? Or is it good or bad?
All right, so first off, there is no neutral. That's just what we just want to put out there first. As a Christian, there is no neutrality. But in the sense of what other persons deem to be neutral are songs that if you can play in front of your mother, for example, right? It's songs that you can play in front of persons and they won't say, oh, that's something's definitely wrong with that. And you as a Christian can't be listening to that because the things in it don't hint at something being totally wrong or out of place, right? So persons tend to gravitate, as Christians, they gravitate to that because it's not saying devil and it's not saying shoot up this or drink this and drink that because it's just a beat and somebody just talking about an experience. For example, look at the Far Caspian that I was listening. The man was just reminiscing on an experience, right? But after doing my due diligence, I saw that the experience that he was referencing was not something good. So I gravitated towards the song because he never cursed, he never spoke about doing bad things in of itself or explicitly that I could see in first visitation or first listening. So that I gravitated towards that as neutral. So you can see where neutral is something that is not easily seen as good or bad. You can't make a differentiation off the bat. You following, and everybody following what I'm saying? As in what the persons would define as neutral music?
So if you're going to listen to a song, right, you have to find out the purpose or the meaning behind the song.
Yes, we're going to look at that. As a Christian, you have something called due diligence that you should do. And we're going to look at it later, right? But on this topic of neutrality...
You wait until the presentation is completed and we ask questions or we ask questions?
No, you can't ask questions in your presentation.
Because we can make reference to soul music that persons talk about or sing about, you know. And then, as Christians, we play them at weddings and stuff like that. Is there something wrong with that?
Repeat the last part of it.
Something wrong with those?
I am not going to look at you and say something is wrong, right? I'm going to present what I know, and you take from it.
Or maybe I should ask if it's neutral.
if it's neutral to
Yeah.
play souls at a wedding or souls privately as a couple. Turn like to answer this one. Sorry.
Okay, so it's so based on my research and what I understood, it's not a case where you can draw a line and say, okay, this is good and this is bad. Because things that we can consider good, if we hear a song and it talks about God and all of that, and we put it over the good side, if we are not intentional about finding out what it really is about, it can have bad things in it which would then counteract that and then bring it over to the other side. But it's all about doing things. So it shouldn't be a case where we differentiate between music that we can listen to as worship music, if you may call it that, and then music that, oh, we can play this at weddings or we can listen to this in our spare time and all of that. It should be a case where everything that we do, everything that we listen to, whether it be directly church related or not, it should always be, Christ should always be manifested through it. So because we're Christians, our daily lives should be, what I want to say, so Christ should be manifested in us. So by everything that we do, he should be reflected. So it's not a case where, oh, this is souls, maybe this can play at the wedding, but it's more so what kind of message is this song pushing? Okay, it's about love, but what kind of love is it? Is it a selfish love? Remember, we see in Corinthians, or 1 Corinthians, oh, God defined love. Love is patient, love is kind. So you always want to understand what you want to relate it back to the Bible and use your Bible as a definition. So yes, I like this song, and it's not talking about God, or it's not worship. It's not something that I can listen to when I'm worshiping, but maybe not that way. But it's not something when I'm in a worship. God. So the song is playing, and you like the music and you like the beat. So you say, okay, now it's my time to find out what kind of message is this song pushing. So you find out and you say, okay, it's love. What kind of love is it? So as I say, you find out if it's, you know that love is kind, love is, help me out, patient and all of that. And then you want to ensure that it's everything that you're doing is to the honor and glory of God.
We have a hand at the back, Brother Burton.
Yeah, I'm happy that we are actually doing this, because I realize that many of the songs that we listen to, especially as Brother Christopher was mentioning, songs that are played at weddings. I was listening to a very popular song the other day, and when I spent some time just to listen to the beat of the song is very good. But when you start listening to the song, you realize how immoral the song is. Because it's actually telling you that it's okay to cheat on your partner. You get what I'm saying? So as I say, whatever we are listening to must be a means of glorifying God. Would God be pleased? You understand? In listening to that song, in you listening to that song, knowing that here is one of his child. You know, these are some of the things that we need to do. That's why it is very good that we pay close attention to the purpose for which the songs were produced.
We have okay. So, Sister Walker. But on the same topic that you were saying, I agree with you both. But when I was looking at the same thing about love songs and stuff, I'm saying, all right, if you don't mind, we had a rap session with Elder Morrison, and he was saying, when he was young, he used to listen to souls, but then the Lord said to him, when you listen to souls and you're not married, what direction would you go in? What would you want to do? But then I said, okay, so definitely, if you're single, soul's out of it for you as a Christian. Yes, it's talking about love and two persons, but you disqualified from listening to it any whatsoever from you're not married, right? Because it brings out the wrong vibe. But in the context of between two persons, I was reading And it came about where they said that most of these songs that are souls and R&B love songs, they push over infatuation. So they push this idea that you love the person, a love that can be explained in the sense that you love them more than you love God. If you should weigh up how they're describing the love. So for some persons, when they listen to that love song, they become so over-infatuated with their partner that they put the partner above God, per se. So that's my really view. But as I say, I agree with both of them and what they said. Sister Walker?
Okay. It's for years I have this question in my mind. I went to a dinner once, and they were playing music while they serve. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I hear somebody pass by and say, "What, the Christian them are going so?" And it was because of the kind of music that was playing at another dinner. You know, it is just those kind of a song. So what I was saying to myself, we have a lot of people who write songs. Can they not write songs for those occasions? Other than we have to be using those secular songs in our, whatever we are doing, wedding, dinner, and things like that? That was my question, whether or not we can have people doing those songs, because there are a lot of composers around.
All right, we can take it that probably the comment that was made at Sister Walker here could be one of two things. A Christian them are going so. It could be that the person is saying, boy, I never know if a Christian could have behaved like that. Or it's a situation where I think Christian life boring. You follow what I'm saying? We don't know. But some of these songs that are played at weddings, if you listen to them carefully, they are geared towards a wedding itself. Whether it's a secular artist that does it, if you listen to it, some of them are geared towards a wedding. You understand? We as Adventists, what we do is that when we listen to a song, we scrutinize the song. Like, for instance, we were talking about a particular gospel song last night. We're saying, but one of the groups sing where I say, and we change it, say, seeing the loved ones there. Loved ones there. Yeah, going home, right? Home is where the heart is. And I said, loved ones there to welcome in, to welcome us in. Yeah. And then, you know, we realize that they are saying that to us it would seem as if when you have persons who die and go to heaven, then a whole heap of things come up after that. Because guess what? Where is Moses? Where is Elijah? You follow what I'm saying? So when we are singing the song now, this is what we say now. Love was there to welcome us in. Right? Someone was saying, all right, hold on. Then who did it? Then we are the angels. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. So when we, you know, Tori touch a really important point. When we are playing songs or we are listening to a song or want to sing a song, we listen to what the song is saying. Sometimes we cannot find out what the artist had in mind, the intent of the artist at the time. Because a lot of these songs help to, in a sense, save other persons. Because they weren't thinking about what the artists were thinking, but they were listening to what the words of the song were saying.
Okay, Brother Christopher, I hear what you're saying. I have an online comment.
It's not online, but I just want to say something on what he just said about the song. When it says, loved ones there to welcome me, you're saying that something is wrong with that? No, but I don't think anything wrong with loved one. I think sometimes we go too far in trying to understand the motives of the persons who are writing these songs and listening to the words. Because if it says, loved ones there to welcome me, right? Remember, it's not everyone going to die, right? And you have different set of persons who will be caught up. So if I am here and I get whoever go up in the first, and then you have the second, and if your loved one is there, they're going to be there looking out to see if you make it. So when they see you now, they'll welcome you. So that's how I look at it.
All right, so that's an interpretation. I see what you guys are going and saying about, but we're kind of very pressed for time, and there's something.
Hello? All right, hold on. I know some go before some. Get this, make we understand it. Is everybody go one time? Because I said the dead in Christ shall raise first. And then those who are that are remain. You follow? Yes. So the only loved ones we can think about is Moses, Elijah. You follow what I'm saying? And right and Enoch. So we changed the word of the song now. It says, love was there. Because we know angels are there. Yeah, right. But then again, no, watch this now. It says that when Jesus come, some persons will say, Jesus and him entourage. No, Jesus and the angel them come. Jesus and him entourage come. Not true. See, it kind of look away when they say entourage. Not true. But Jesus and the angels them. You follow me? So all of us are going there one time. Only probably like Moses and them on the way going before us.
All right, Brother Christopher, thank you. We're going to move on now. So we're going to backtrack a little to what Christiana was talking about, and I was talking about neutrality. So Matthew chapter 6, verse 24 says, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Jesus tells us plainly that there are only two sides, but we ignore it as Christians, and we try to create this gray area. We try to create this neutrality and middle ground. So if we're not going to take it from Jesus, let's see if you will take it from the devil. So I found a quote. Well, it's not a quote. Everyone knows, I don't know if young people know, Bob Dylan, right? That's a pop artist from back in the day. Elder knows what I'm talking about. Bob Dylan. He's very famous, man. So he has a song that says, everybody have to serve somebody, right? It says, you may be an ambassador to England or France. You may like to gamble. You may like to dance. You may like to be the heavyweight champion of the world. You may be a socialite with a long string of pearls. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed. You're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. You see what the devil not don't do him, do you know? Him tell you straight to your face. But remember what the Bible, the first adjective them used to describe the devil in Genesis, subtle. Subtle. So this is the same Bob Dylan that we're looking at here. And I want to just listen to what he has to say. Sonia, could you just go closer to the projector for me, please?
Still out here doing these songs, you know, you're still on tour.
I do, but I don't take it for granted.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
I do, but I don't take it for granted. Destiny thing.
Why do you
I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Bob Dylan has been nominated.
Right? And the man asked him later on who he made the bargain with. And he said, the chief. And the man asked, of this earth? And he replied, of this earth and the world we can't see. So Many persons say, oh, we don't know who he's talking about, but we as Christians know who he's talking about, right? So this man can say is an agent of the devil. He's doing the devil's work, keeping up his end of the bargain. And in the song, he plainly tells us you can't serve, you have to serve somebody rather. It may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but there is no neutrality. So Jesus tells us that there is no neutrality. The devil tells us that there is no neutrality. But also, as Brother Burton pointed out earlier today, the devil would want you to try to get the neutrality, because from your neutral, you're automatically on the devil's side. Our hearts know no good. So then how can we look for good? We have a reasonable understanding as to what good is by way of the Bible. We don't know what is good. In accounting, there is auditing. And when we do auditing, we just look over the books of a company. But they say that you must approach it with skepticism. And it's the same thing with Christianity. Everything that you come across, and in this context, music. When you come across music, you just don't look at it at the surface. You have to approach it being skeptical about all things. Do your due diligence and research, examination. What is the author about? What is this writer about? What is their beliefs? Because music is a way that people express and push their beliefs. Not all error can be seen on the surface. And you see, when we as Christians say, oh, we find Christian music, that's the time we're supposed to be even more skeptical. Because when you read between the lines, you see some red flags. But you can't choose to be ignorant, right? Because if you choose to not do your due diligence and research something and see what this Christian person is saying or pushing, you're being willfully ignorant, and the Bible tells you that there is no excuse for willful ignorance. We tend to quote the verse that says, God winks at our ignorance. But if you choose to be willfully ignorant, you will pay the price. And it's in Zechariah, chapter 17, verse 8 to 13. You can read it. Yes, Elder.
One of the reasons why we should be more careful when it comes on to music, one of the reasons why as Christians we're more skeptical, we're more careful, is that in music, in listening to music, you don't have to think about music for it to register in the brain. Right? As long as music is playing in your surrounding, your mind is absorbing it. So you will find yourself dancing to a song without even consciously thinking about the song. Your body just automatically start move to it. And this is why it is much more critical that as Christians, we pay close attention to our surrounding, the space that we occupy, the place that we go, the places that we go, and the persons that we hang out with, and things that we listen to, and so on. It's very important that we pay close attention to that.
I'm getting the wrapping up signal, so I just want to show you something important. So, I'm going to read this verse while I go to Brother Christopher. So, music and the Adventists. So, first we say music and the Christian. So, we're going to say music and the Adventists now. Ask yourself this. Are all Christian music, should it be listened and brought into worship, into the church? That's a question you should ask yourselves. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23 says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient, and all things are lawful for me, but not all things edify. So I was reading the commentary because I wasn't really understanding where it says all things are lawful for me. And I think it's Wesley did this commentary, and it says, supposing these were lawful itself, yet it is not expedient, it is not edifying to my neighbor or myself. So not because it's Christian music means that you as an Adventist should carry that into the church and promote that. You have a point, Brother Christopher? You remember the point? You remember it? Because I will come to you shortly. Christianity has a multitude of denominations under it. Persons who believe different things. The one thing you should say we have in common as the different denominations is that we believe in Jesus. Nowadays, some denominations under Christianity don't believe in Jesus. I don't see why they call it Christianity. But not because something is labeled Christian music means that we as Seventh-day Adventists should take that and bring that into the church and be constantly filling our minds with that. I think, Daniel, can you unmute the mic for me, please?
Okay. I agree with that because a lot of the music does not match up with what the scriptures say. So we can use it. Another music that I wanted to touch on before you close was you have some type of music that helps, that brings you comfort, that helps you to go through what you're going through. Like, for instance, it's not culture music, it's not the culture I was looking for. But we use this kind of music many times, like, see the hypocrite them a go along there. When we were on a slavery, it kind of sounded like a way, you know? But we used to use these kind of music to help us go through our hardship time. You know, we used to throw a word on Bucker Master, but they didn't know what we were talking about, you know? But it used to help us. You follow me, I say? Sometimes when them put us to work, and we are work so hard, we use music like Good on Emmanuel Road, we got Broke Rock Stone. So we kind of give ourselves a beat to help us to go through what we are going through.
Right, because they say that music is an expression of emotion. And nothing is wrong with expressing our emotions, but where the problem comes in is the extent to which we push this agenda that we have or this emotion that we are feeling.
Okay, thank you both for that point, but we're going to move on to something because I want to show you this before we close, right? So there are new things that are creeping into our worship as Christian and Seventh-day Adventists. I'm going to play a clip for you. For those online, sorry you can't see it, but it's just contemporary. You can see it. Okay, so it's just contemporary dancing is what they call it, to contemporary music, contemporary Christian music. And then
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough.
The tattoo, just look at what he's doing. And oh, he's not. He has on a suit that matches his skin color. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to play all of it, but you see, so guess what kind of music he's dancing to, or what the title of this video was. When I saw it, they put his name and says, Dances with His Demons to Take Me to Church. And the song Take Me to Church is a song about homosexuality in the church, right? So that's him dancing with his demons, and the one before was persons worshiping. Say that this is how they dance and worship God, right? So before we just take up something and bring it into the church, we need to do our due diligence as Christians. Not all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient, right? And not all things edify. Muting again, just look at this. That's a Seventh-day Adventist church. Yes, but that's a Seventh-day Adventist church. And one of the things that they were saying is that this lady said she went to different African churches and none of them had a drum. And she noticed that they had a piano, they had everything else, but they didn't have a drum. So she asked one of the churches why they don't have a drum. And one of the pastors said to her, it's because that has to do with voodoo. And as our Voodoo, as Torian told us about earlier, but they're experiencing the same thing that we're experiencing. Their culture is creeping into the church. So that's the same thing that we're saying, mixing culture with church. Because I even found another video that I couldn't even play it here, but it's from a Seventh-day Adventist church doing a presentation. And they're what we would call nowadays dancing against each other. That was what was happening at a Seventh-day Adventist church because they brought in drums and their culture into the worship session. And this is what it manifested into. Ellen G. White told us that music is going to creep into the church in the last days. Bombs of noise, I think she said. So we should look out for these things. And I have to wrap up.
Well, it is, I notice we always talk about the drums and African music, but a lot of European music too worship demon. I'm late, so maybe you went through it as already. You have, right?
No, I
so because my point is, we tend to zoom in on the drum alone. Mm-hmm. And you would sing a country and western song that was created for bar, and we feel good about it. Right? Yeah. But as soon as I hear the drum, we're quick to. So while it's culture, we have to take it right across the board. And it's not just the drum alone. Using guitar, keyboard, the European instrument can also be used to worship the devil as well. Remember, Satan is the god of music, quote unquote. Yeah. So come in many and various forms.
Yeah, so as we go for the next point rather, we're not signaling out and say just the drum alone is bad, but we were referencing back to a question asked earlier, as in mixing culture and music. So we just looked at the African culture and that was a part and how it's being mixed in. And we even looked at contemporary music. That's not Jamaican culture, but that's something that has been mixed in. Contemporary means modern. Yeah, modern anything. So I have a...
Yes, Burton, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm sorry I'm late. I wasn't here before to see exactly what what the discussion was about. But as I came, I heard, the discussion surrounding drums. Now, we need to note that a trap set is something that is created, and I think the first trap set was introduced, I think, in 1956 or somewhere in that. I'm not quite sure exactly when. And the trap set is used for the accompaniment of music. Now, there are drums that are used for voodoo, which is the big drum you carry, the big long drum that you carry, and the one that you use and knock, boom, 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 and just keep knocking and knocking and knocking, right? That was the drum that people uses, and if you go to Africa in the deep woods, that's the kind of drums you're gonna see there. Those kind of drums. You're not gonna see a trap set that is made specifically for the accompaniment of music. Now, one thing I just want to say, and I'm gonna close, is that we had this discussion already, and what they are saying is that some people are saying that it's not right to have the drum in the church. Now, I'm just trying to differentiate between the drum, which is the one that makes a bedlam of noise, and a trap set that accompanies your music. For instance, many of the artists that we emulate their songs and we carry their songs in church and we play them. And play them with the drum that the people that is playing that drum are not Seventh-day Adventists.
Yes, I agree.
And we carry it for divine service and we accept it. But if we have a trap set that is played by a Seventh-day Adventist that we can moderate and we can make it to accompany the song and complement the song, I do not see anything wrong with a trap set. So I want to differentiate them.
Yes, I agree with you. We have to wrap up now. I get in the signal. We can have this discussion another time, but I agree with you, brother. It's about harmonizing. If music, there's a difference between melody and rhythm. melody and noise / rhythm, right? Following what you're saying. And it's all about, when I was doing the same research, it's all about the person behind it. What are they trying to convey? Where is this beat coming from, right? So just to end it, on the same thing that we talk about, the voodoo. This bass drum thing that you say is just the bass drum. I remember Jimi Hendrix, famous guitarist. He was playing the bass, I think it was, and an African person heard him and asked him where he got that bass from, those rhythms, because it sounds similar to the rhythm that his grandfather would play in the voodoo ceremonies. So things is not just that, it's a drum. It can translate to all different instruments. And that is what we should always remember. It's about the person behind the instrument playing it. What is the message they're trying to convey? Where did they get this from? Is it melodious or is it just noise? So, as we close, as Christians, remember, we have to do our due diligence. Yes, we know something on the surface. Yes, we're not supposed to be listening to Vibes Cartel or anything of that sort because it's outright and you can see the bad there. But even things that are labeled as Christian music, we must do our due diligences and research. What is this about? What does this person believe? What are they trying to convey in this song? Because we cannot choose to be ignorant, because that will not remove or negate the consequences. So as we go through the week, as we continue, let us look, everything that comes across us, be very skeptical, especially Christian material. Be skeptical. Hold it against the Bible. If it doesn't match up with the Bible, it's not for you. Don't try and put it in a gray area. So as we stand to dismiss, to be continued, yes, to be continued. We had a short time today, but we shall continue. Let us bow our heads. Dear kind and compassionate Father, thank you for another Sabbath day. Thank you for another Bible class session where we came together and we discussed according to your word and your truths, Father. As we are about to disperse, Father, I pray that you will continue to remind us of the things we have learned. Continue to show us the errors that come across our paths daily, dear Father. And give us the strength. Remove all bias from our thinking, Father. And give us the strength to follow you and you only. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all for coming out. Even though this is the last Bible class for Youth Month, I know it's not the last time I'll be up here. Brother or Sister Hunt or some other youth is up here. We really enjoy discussing things because it's a learning experience for us as well. So we'll have a part 2 on this discussion because we just opened up a can of worms. So we're going to go through it more in depth so we have more time. But be safe. Continue to always let God be your guide. Nothing else. The word of God is truth, and truth comes from God. So goodbye. Happy Sabbath. Enjoy the rest of the day.